Hi Ragu, how are you?
Hey, sir. Doing well, doing well. All well with you?
All great, Ragu. I'm really
Been
excited
traveling
for
quite a
today's.
bit, is it?
Yeah. It's been hectic. The last couple of months has been really hectic, but yeah, I've been traveling quite a bit. But really
Okay.
excited to get into this next podcast episode. What do you feel about what we're going to discuss today?
I think I feel that we shouldn't be playing it safe anymore. A lot of us. And
Great, great way
I'm
to.
excited about this because I really want, as in, it's important that we bring this in our podcast uh, because I feel the impact it can have for our listeners. Uh, Even if 10% of our listeners start taking the risks that they've been avoiding, I think we have served the purpose, or this podcast has served the purpose.
I love the way you have subtly put in the topic while giving me a insight into your thoughts on today's topic. So
Sure.
last time we discussed about a series that we wanted to do, titled Seven Thieves of Success that will stop you from achieving your true potential. And
Yeah.
obviously, we discussed the very first one, which is procrastination. So
Yeah.
I think I'm very keen on getting it going and talking about the second thief, so to speak, in this series, which is playing it safe, which you mentioned a little bit earlier.
Yep.
So are you ready to get into it?
Yes. Why not?
Great. So I think we should start by first trying to understand what you mean when you say playing it safe.
So let's actually take what is the little definition, the closest one to the definition. Generally, playing it safe is to not take any unwarranted risks or dangers, right? To act with caution and prudence. This is what general or the literal definition of playing it safe. So while that is the definition, so one should not be mistaken by what a costly regret that it can be. Well, remember, like everyone on earth, you have at one time or another missed out on a great opportunity because you chose to play it safe or avoided a risk. But as they say, right, hindsight is 2020. What's easy to see now as a missed opportunity looked very scary and risky at that time. So as I have also done, and as many of us would have done, chosen to play it safe and stayed in our comfort zone. The problem is, in retrospect, those things weren't scary and or risky at all, just different and new. So
Raghu, I mean,
yeah,
I can understand what you're trying to say
yeah.
the like your interpretation on playing it safe and what it means to you and why it is potentially a thief. But having said that, is it such a bad thing? Because you see a lot of professions where people are quite happy, quite satisfied with what they're doing, and they are
Hmm.
leading their lives the way they feel they should be leading their lives. So why do you think that it's playing it safe is a bad thing?
Sure, that's a great question. So while the warnings of overambitious risks are clear, right? We are so used to everyone around us tell us, watch yourself and don't do anything stupid. Like, unfortunately, we rarely hear any warnings about playing it safe. Like you also said, right? Like when everybody is happy with their jobs, the question is, are they really happy? Right? So we don't see news headlines that say low risk approach forces local business to file for bankruptcy. Do we?
Right,
Or do
right.
we hear a stunningly conservative move pushes a company to the brink of failure? Or we don't hear a man retires after a mediocre career and feels painful remorse for never having laid anything on the line. So it is because the dangers of playing it safe aren't sudden, obvious, and of course dramatic. Like I said, they don't make headlines. They develop slowly over time and are almost impossible to pinpoint. So this fact often makes them more dangerous than the high-profile missteps we see and hear about in the news. So the right metaphor, which I think which will actually fit in, is like a slow leak in a tire, right? We as mechanical engineers, and of course everybody who drives a vehicle can understand, you don't see or feel these dangers on a daily basis, right? You become
Yeah.
aware of them only when you realize that you're stuck and you're not really sure how it happened. So the dangers of playing it safe are hidden. They are silent killers, of course. And yes, to answer your question, I really think it's a bad.
So, but having said that, I mean, there must be some reason that most people tend to play it safe, right? I mean, if it is so
Mhm.
obvious that playing it safe has its negatives, why do you think so many people tend to play it safe?
I think the part reason is our increasingly fearful culture, unfortunately, that breeds anxiety and urges caution. Right? A lot of us find it difficult to cast our mind ahead 5, 10 years from now and try to imagine what our life will look like. So like you asked, why do people think, or why do they actually tend to play safe? Like what is certain is that 10 years from now there will be people no more capable than you. Again, I'll say it again, as in there will be more people who are no more capable than you, but would have accomplished amazing things. While we can't know who they will be at this time, one thing is sure: they will be people who have refused to buy into the fears that have driven so many others to settle, play safe, make excuses, and of course, eternally procrastinate. Like I generally feel leading teams, we humans overestimate the size of risks and underestimate our ability to handle them. So, accordingly, our choices are often driven more by a fear of what we don't want than a commitment to what we do. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, obviously, none of us are perfect. I'm sure that you must have played it safe at some point in your life too. So, can you share some examples, or at least one example of when you found yourself playing it safe?
Sure, sure. Like you rightly said, right now, none of us are perfect, and I am in that. Like I'm more imperfect than perfect, because you know me for 21 years. Out of that 17 years I've been working, we're all a work in progress, and I like it that way than being called a perfect thing. So, if anything, you know about me, it is that I did not personally enjoy the 9 to 6 a.m. Job, right? 6 p.m. job rather,
Yeah, yeah,
which
yeah,
never gets over at 6 p.m. That's why I would have mistakenly, but obviously told 6 a.m. But the cushion of monthly pay gave me the wrong comfort and importantly caught me comfortable playing it safe. So I had to just
yeah,
go to office and of course do what I'm very good at and get a comfortable salary and start neglecting the uncomfortable questions. When I talk about uncomfortable questions, they're very simple questions like what do I do in 5 years? How do I want to look in 5 years? When I mean want to look in 5 years, I mean the literal meaning, right? Do I want to look stressed and beaten, or still I can have that six packs which I always wanted to have, right? Or what is the
yeah,
future I'm seeing but not saying? Like what are the strengths aren't we capitalizing on? What opportunities am I letting slip through my fingers by playing it safe? Am I actually settling for average while I should really be going for great? So I've done all these things, and of course, in the Seneca search for answers, right? What I realized is a fundamental truth about playing it safe that we should all keep in mind is while it's dangerous in the long term, uh, it just feels better in the short term, right?
yeah,
That's why
yeah,
most of us don't take the risks, and that's why we, like you also mentioned, right? That's why we keep playing it safe, and so people naturally gravitate towards playing it safe. So
yeah,
then what followed after deciding to not play it safe, if you will allow me, we can call it as a history in the making, or happiness within, or unlocking the true potential in the making, all of it, which only time will tell. But what is there, what I call the proof is in the pudding, that we co-founded our consultancy company, that's Arise Consultancy. All this
yeah.
happened in the last 7 months, right? Of
Mm,
course, we are talking here. We've started a podcast, that's Cubicle
yeah,
Chimps, right?
yeah.
I've started writing blogs. I put out a blog every week, once a week in LinkedIn, right?
Mm,
We also co-founded as in I've co-founded a company with other two co-founders, that's Meatiness. The beauty is I see change every day, and with it myself also, I see that I change to handle them. It's a feeling that I never got sitting inside a cubicle, sir. To put it raw, I'm sure that you were also did not spare you as well. That is that playing it safe did not spare you as well.
no, no, absolutely not. I mean, I've had many instances in my life where I have played it safe.
Mhm.
Something that it's great that we are talking about this at this point in our careers. Something that I've always say held over myself or regretted doing was a playing it safe move, so to speak. Back in college, I had the fortune to actually get placed in a reasonably good engineering firm, and that too
Okay.
in Chennai. And it would have been really exciting for me to take up the challenge. But on the flip side, I was given the opportunity to join one of the companies that my family business represented in Kerala. It was either going my own way, following my own path, or going the way of the family business. And obviously, I chose to play it safe and took that path. As you know, I joined one of the companies that we represent in Kerala.
Mm-hmm.
The regret that I have is not related to the experiences that I've had at that company and or subsequently with my family business. The regret that I have more than anything is I don't know what would have happened, because the
Mm.
opportunity to have worked in this firm that was presented when I passed out would have always been there. Even if I had taken a gamble and gone with the company that recruited me off campus, a year or 2 years down the line, I could have still requested to the company we represent in Kerala whether I could intern with them for a year or 2 years or whatever. But I didn't.
Got
Instead
it.
of taking that gamble and going with the opportunity that I had created for myself, I chose the easy path or the playing it safe path, because I knew that things were lined up in or the stars were aligned, and it would be much easier and safer to me for me to join this company in Pune. Similarly, I mean, I know, as you know, I tend to enjoy running and going outdoors and being active. And
Yeah.
I was in my initial days of running always presented with the opportunity to participate in full marathon, but I
Yeah.
was always playing it safe and sticking to what I knew, which was a half marathon. And I didn't realize the impact that running a full marathon would have on my life. And took about a year or two of playing it safe for me to finally decide that okay, let's take a gamble. So though I didn't register for a full marathon when Pondicherry when I participated in my first Pondicherry marathon, though it
Yeah.
was registered as a half, I decided to break the shackles, so to speak, and do not play it safe anymore, and basically did the full marathon. And yeah, I mean, thing took off from there for me as far as running is concerned. So yeah, I have both experiences, both in my personal life as well as in my professional career. So no doubt about
Yeah.
it. I mean, playing it safe has huge impact. Not always negative, but definitely has impact. It will stop you from achieving your potential.
Correct, correct.
So
So yeah, there is a
so
metaphor
yeah,
there itself, right? Even though you said running, which you actually do, all of us have the potential to run a full marathon, right? But why are
exactly.
we settling for 5K runs and the 10K runs, and we're extremely happy about those things, right? I really think yes, while you have to start somewhere, it could be even a 100-meter run to a 200, 500, 1 kilometer, 4 kilometer, 5 kilometer, but we should never lose sight, or we should never underestimate ourselves. That's why a while back I just said that, right? We generally have the tendency to kind of underestimate what we can actually do. So we
Yeah.
overestimate the size of risks and underestimate our ability to handle them. So we got to really bet on ourselves to run the marathon, so to speak, in life as well. Yeah.
So, I mean, one of the things that we have always discussed while working on these podcasts is to help people identify steps that can be enablers to change some of these attitudes. So, do you have any ideas, any suggestions on how somebody who might be playing it safe right now can take the right steps to move away from this attitude of playing it safe?
So when I actually give these ideas, right, I want to actually tell to our listeners that these are all very simple, not rocket science, and doable things. I've always done my own research to kind of come up with these ideas to tell it to our listeners, and I want them to understand that it's actually as simple as that. I'm telling it. Only thing which is more complicated is that effort which somebody has to put. So, coming to answer your question, my solution to breaking through the tendency: attack it every day in your life and bombard it with tough and thoughtful questions. Like hold yourself accountable for doing it consistently. That's important. Then hold yourself accountable for strategizing and executing the change you want to see and become. So, all in essence, make it more uncomfortable to play it safe for yourself. So for
Mm.
starters, if somebody wants specific things, I can talk about that 4 risks they can take consciously, right? Because
Yeah.
playing it safe means you're not taking risks. So what are those risks which you can start taking? Those are the 4 risks which I think which kind of helped me to at least start not playing it safe. Risk number one is risk awkward conversations. So speak candidly, step out from behind your computer screen and engage in a real face-to-face conversations, or at least to pick up the phone whenever there is sensitive issues to be addressed, will build trust and influence in ways that nothing else can, right? So take the
Yeah.
phone, like don't think that okay, will I risk something, right, if I call this person and if I ask them a favor, or will I risk something if I start a podcast, so to speak, that we've started this podcast, right? Will we risk a lot of feedback coming our way, right?
Mm-hmm.
Criticism coming our way.
Yes.
That's exactly what I'm talking about, right? Risk it, it's fine. Speak candidly, right? And the next risk is risk ignorance. Challenge assumptions. So
Mm.
start ditching your maps and start challenging your assumptions. Can actually open up entire new horizons of possibility. It's like
Mm.
traveling, right? As long as you're in the 10 kilometer, 40, 50 kilometer radius from the place you're born, you will not really know what is out there in the world. All you can see is a Discovery Channel, but you couldn't have actually, you won't feel it, like the risk ignorance which I ask everybody to take.
Mm.
And the third risk is risk rejection or conformity, so to speak. When all you do is to try to fit in, you negate the difference your difference makes. Yeah, so here you got to pay attention, because be willing to own what makes you unique, to walk your own path, express your own opinion, and do what's true for you versus what others expect of you. It's not easy, easier said than done, but yet it's very crucial to your success. It's what sets you apart from the crowd. And the fourth risk is the most important risk, I think, is risk imperfect decisions. Be decisive despite uncertainty. So making no decision and sticking with the status quo is a decision, right? So they
Mm.
think a lot of us are actually got it wrong. Making no decision is itself a decision made.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
yeah, that's the problem. So no means they think it's not there. So these issues that cause us to be dissatisfied don't generally go away with time, but actually worsen.
Mm.
Many studies have been shown that in most cases, taking action, even wrong actions, is more fruitful than doing nothing. Like, I don't know, of course you've run so many marathons, but you can't say that you were never injured. You never had knee pains and things like that, right? uh,
Yeah, absolutely.
yeah,
I mean, there
yeah,
is. I mean, you have to go through that experience, and you have to have those difficulties. Otherwise, there is no growth, right? I mean,
yeah.
we were discussing earlier about things that I enjoy. I mean, or quotes that I enjoy. So one of the quotes that I came across is by this lady called Shirley Hufstedler, and
Mhm.
it basically talks about playing it safe and uh, how not playing it safe prevents you from growth. If you play it safe in life, you have decided that you don't want to grow anymore. When you, like you're
That's
talking
right
about the
there.
running and the marathons, that's exactly that point.
Yeah. So that's what,
Yeah.
Seb, for our listeners and for myself, I keep telling it, we should take those 4 risks. Risk awkward conversations, speak candidly, risks ignorance, challenge assumptions, risk rejection, flout conformity, and again, risk imperfect decisions, be decisive despite uncertainty. So, in a world where change is happening fast and the windows of opportunities are limited, these risks have to be taken. If you don't take, I
Mm.
think it can be very costly.
Great, Raghu.
So,
I think there's a lot of takeaways in this podcast, a lot of things to think about. If people are ready to like grow or ready to explore outside of their safe zones, I think you have given some great tips for them to try out and see where it leads them. Would you do you have any final remarks, or do you have any great quotes that you enjoy related to this topic?
sure, sure. That's my favorite, thing in the podcast. What I've
Hmm.
realized is, so finally, I would just, say that don't make inaction the default action, and don't take the safe option also just because it feels more comfortable in that particular instance. So it's a very simple quote. I don't know who said it, but we've heard it a lot. Fortune favors the bold, my friends. And Twain actually beautifully said it also. Another interesting quote which I found while researching on this topic is, I'm an old man and I've known a great many troubles, but most of them have never happened. So I don't want you to become the old man. I want us, as in all of us should become the old man, and we should also know all the great many troubles, but we also would also know that none of it or most of it wouldn't have happened. So just
Mm,
imagine, finally, I would say what we all could accomplish in the next 10 years, 5 years, if you're truly courageous. I think
yeah.
possibilities are endless. We are chimps, but I don't think we should be cubicle chimps.
Yeah. Yeah.
Somewhere we all came from there, but I really think we should enjoy. It's one life. Like what will be the story which you will say where there are no risks involved? It'll be a little boring story, right? So it's make your life story an interesting one. For it to be interesting, take those risks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome, Raghu. It was great chatting with you. I look forward to our next in this series, and let's get this going.
Yep.
And until next time, have a great day.
You too. You too. Enjoy. Thank you, listeners. Thanks,
Yeah.
Seb.
Thank you, listeners.